Hi everyone, today I'm going to be showing you how to write a linear equation using a table. So the first thing that we need to know is that in this case we are being asked to write a linear equation in the form of f of x equals mx plus b, where m represents your slope and b represents your y-intercept. So what this means is that we're going to need to find what m is and what b is, so we can write this equation. So I like to start with the y-intercept, so I like to start with the b first, because it's the easiest one to see in a table, especially if you see that x is already equal to 0 at some point. So when x is equal to 0, that shows you underneath what your y-intercept is. So this is basically the y-intercept coordinate, but you only need to keep the 3 because that's exactly where your line will cross the y-axis. So the 3 represents your y-intercept. So that one was pretty easy to identify. Next, we need to find out what your m is, which represents your slope. To find your slope, you need to figure out the change of y over change of x. And for us to do that, we need to use the table to find the pattern of how that's actually working. So I see that the x's are changing by adding 1 each time. So plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. And it's very important for you to include the sign of it so we know whether it's adding by 1 or subtracting by 1. Now I got to check the pattern for what's happening with the y. So I see that this one is adding by 2, and then 1 plus 2 equals 3, and then 3 plus 2. So I see that there's a constant pattern here. So now the next thing, once I know what my pattern is, I just need to make sure that I'm writing it just the same way I wrote change of y over change of x. So my change of y was 2, and it was positive 2. So I like to include the sign always. And the next thing that I need to look at is what was my change of x. So my change of x was positive 1. Because this is already in the fraction form, I need to make sure that I'm simplifying it to the best of my abilities. So I know that 2 divided by 1 is 2. So that will be my m. Once you have what your m is and what your b is, you can simply write the equation again by plugging in the numbers. So I'm going to grab the equation again, f of x equals, and I know what my m is. I know my m is 2, so I'm bringing 2, x plus, and I need to check what my b is. My b is 3. And that's it. That's my answer. F of x equals 2x plus 3. That'll be my final answer for this one. I'm going to show you one more example. If you want to, at this point, you can pause the video so you can try to do it on your own as well and check to see if you're able to get it. So again, we need to find out what m is, what the slope is, and we need to figure out what the y-intercept is. So let's start with I always like, to be honest, this is my preference. I like to start with my y-intercept because it's the easiest one to identify. Remember that in the table, all you have to look for is where is x equal to 0, and you just take the number that's underneath it, which is the y. In this case, we have a y-intercept of 1 because that's exactly where my line is hitting the y-axis. The next thing, my slope. Remember, the slope is just finding the pattern, the rate of change that's happening in the table. And that goes again with change of y over change of x. And that's exactly what the triangles represent, just in case you didn't know. So again, let's look to see what is the change of x here. So I see that they're adding by 1, and I just have to make sure that it's the same case for everything. And yep, so we're adding by 1 each time. Now let's check out the change of y. So for this one, I notice that they're taking away, and they're taking away 3, and it continues. Take away 3, take away 3, take away 3. All right. So far I found out the pattern. Now I'm able to write it again underneath so I can calculate what my slope would be, what my m would be. So change of y. So again, the change of y is here. I have that -3 over my change of x. My change of x is here. And then that's plus 1. And then I have to simplify it. Again, fractions are simply a division problem. So all I have to do is -3 divided by +1 would actually just give me -3. And that's what my m would be. So my m equals to -3. Now that I have my y-intercept and my slope, I am able to rewrite the formula now again. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so I have more space. So the formula goes as follows. F of x equals, what's my m? -3 x plus, what's my b? It's 1. And that's pretty much it. This is how you calculate, this is how you write the equation out of a table.